Hi, this week on our show, we're going to be talking, about a little more sensitive topic regarding body dysmorphia and eating disorders. These topics may be triggering for some people or very sensitive.
So if you are in recovery or you are having an eating disorder, we would definitely say please take a pause on watching this episode because we do not want to re-trigger or cause any
setbacks in your progress.
In your progress, right. Hi, I'm Connie.
And I'm Kent, and welcome to Crazy Therapeutic Asians, where we talk about mental health in the Asian American community. This week, we're going to be talking about body dysmorphia and eating disorders. And this is a topic we wanted to bring up because we know body image, especially for Asian American women, it's a really, really heavy thing. There's very unrealistic expectations, whether it be from your parents or Japanese cartoons. The proportions on there are unrealistic, and people trying to live up to it sometimes can get themselves into a lot of trouble.
Being able to come out of the stigma of saying that you have an eating disorder or body dysmorphia. People don't talk about it because there is a shame quality to that. In Asia, it's even more dominant of the expectations being so high. There is a presumption at this point of general consensus of pale skin, thin, very, very thin.
Magical thigh gap.
Thigh gap.
And as well as just surgeries, plastic surgery, liposuction.
The Asian ideal.
The Asian eyelid surgery that so many people get these days.
Big eyes are great. I think there's a femininity
like a graceful feminine look that they're trying to achieve.
Right. And that is the ultimate goal.
And there's no judgment against people who want to do that or choose to do that. Go for it. But I think our focus of discussion is when people feel the need to do it.
Right. To feel better about themselves as people.
I need to look a certain way to feel good about myself.
To be accepted.
And this can cost people a lot of money, cause them a lot of pain, and it can waste a lot of their time on just trying to perfect their body and not living their life instead.
Right. And at the very end, the self-esteem is destroyed and you don't even know who you are anymore.
Right.
So, body dysmorphia.
Yeah, so body dysmorphia basically is this condition where sometimes people get fixated on certain parts of their body and they cannot let the idea of that go. In some cases, it's you have a little mole on your hand that no one else would ever notice, but to you, for some reason, that is just so glaring that it consumes most of your day.
Right. Especially when it comes to our bodies and weight. I think it's one of those things that I think there's a lot of rules, traditions, shames,
expectations. There's so much, blame on the people. You can eat less, you should exercise more. It's in your control, it's your fault.
And the expectations of you should eat less, you should exercise more because you are not in the weight proportion that we state is the right normal amount for you.
Yeah.
So we compare ourselves so much that when we look in the mirror, it's almost like I call them those circus mirrors.
The distorting.
Yeah. So where your eyes actually can play tricks on you and you don't see yourself the way you really are.
I guess let's get into a little bit about each of the different types of eating disorders and some general statistics that we got from the National Association of Anorexia Nervosa and Associated Disorders. They say at least 30 million people of all ages and genders suffer from an eating disorder in the U.S. A lot of sexual minorities and women have reported eating disorders, to about 3.5% of the population in women and 2.1% in men. The big ones you probably mostly hear of are anorexia nervosa and bulimia.
Yes.
So anorexia nervosa is the type where people restrict, meaning they do not eat and they get really, really, really skinny.
Right. And they go on these diets, they count calories, they exercise a lot, but there's a big restriction where your body starts going to starvation mode.
Bulimia follows the pattern of binging and purging.
Food and then throwing it up.
Yeah. During sort of a short amount of time, a person will consume more than what like a normal person would. Like,
Or actually just a normal meal sometimes.
you eat a normal meal, but in your head,
You ate too
I
much.
ate too much.
The other thing is there is a sense of euphoria. So the sense of euphoria that comes after is also kind of a numbing sensation.
Yeah.
Many times with eating disorders, it helps numb your emotions. You cannot cope, so you start eating, comfort eating,
Mm-hmm.
and then you feel deep shame. So
Oh,
what
yeah.
do?
Well, let's get rid of it.
Let's get rid of it.
If I can throw all of this up, then that won't happen.
The problem is with a lot of the binging and purging, obviously, is the physical realm of burning your esophagus from the stomach acids.
Yeah.
Your body and your stomach doesn't start organizing its food the way it's supposed to. You lose necessary vitamins and
Yeah.
nutrition for yourself.
This is actually one of the more dangerous things about bulimia is it's sometimes hard to tell. People with bulimia oftentimes actually look fairly normal in their body because they're not completely starving to an extreme.
The reality of it is you look like everybody else.
Mhm.
Eating disorder is the behavior. It's what goes through your mind.
This is one of those things, again, where it's like there's so little empathy from people at large regarding it because, one, they don't really understand it.
Mm-hmm.
And two, our sort of whole society is built around it. You know, we constantly are seeing weight loss commercials, eating healthy commercials, gym commercials. All of this is just telling us, hey, you're not okay how you are. And that's kind of a really, it's a bad way to live.
Yes.
Yeah.
Depending on others for your value.
Yeah. It's an exhausting process, but if you're going through one, there are a lot of treatment options out there. With very intense ones, like they need an inpatient program. They have people there who can help you make sure you're gonna eat what you need to eat. They're gonna provide you group therapy so you can go in there and talk with people. They're really there to fight that eating disorder with you.
Inpatient programs, usually they are about 28 to 30 days, depending on physical health, mental health, and they provide doctor care to reintroduce food in a healthy way to help your body learn how to
readjust back to what healthy functioning looks like.
Right.
Usually after an inpatient program, they will transition you into an intensive outpatient. Or with some people whose eating disorder may not be as intense or is in the early stages, they might just put you into an outpatient program directly. And that largely involves like 4 or 5 hour days. Go in there, you have groups, you eat lunch or dinner together, you learn about yourself, and it's a lot of self-growth during those times.
Absolutely.
And having people to commiserate with and talk about the struggles and to get ideas from other people on how to manage it is really, really helpful.
Absolutely.
I'm wondering if you have sort of any specific tools or interventions that like you really connected with.
For me, one of the big things that has taught me a lot about being body positive is having a child. So I look at my child and I say, I don't want her to feel that way. She's beautiful the way she is. Well, if she's beautiful the way she is, I have to model that. She's not going to learn from me speaking and then me restricting or eating, binge eating.
Yeah.
And I realized that if I don't believe that in myself, how am I going to teach her to love herself? How about you?
Well, for me, the one that I took away from it and I still use every day is really to externalize the eating disorder. In the group I went to, they had a very big thing about, hey, this eating disorder is not you. These thoughts you're telling yourself that you're worthless, that you're not good enough, you'll never find love, aren't really you saying that to you. It's this abusive voice that once upon a time maybe was there to protect you, to help you cope, but that voice is no longer helpful, and now it's just plain abusive. So, everyone would give it a name. I just called my Ed, eating disorder. Very clever I am. I had to learn how to fight with him. It was so hard. I believed it.
Of course. And that's one thing I empathize because that's why we have eating disorders. Their voices are so loud. It is like an abusive partner.
Yeah.
Right?
Most definitely. And with abusive partners,
They can make you feel great.
Yep.
And they can make you feel like bleep.
You have to make that choice to divorce your eating disorder.
And it takes time.
It does take time.
And I think one really important thing is to keep going. So people relapse and they think, oh, then I'm a failure. And it's like, no, you hit a bump.
Yeah.
We all hit bumps.
Exactly.
Life is many, many bumps, right?
Non-stop bumps.
Yeah. So it's always looking at 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Guess what? You're still ahead by 1.
Most definitely. Today, I want to bring to you guys one of my favorites, and I think this is a lot of people's favorites, is listening to music. The specific type of listening to music I'm going to talk to you about today is mindful music listening. Generally, when we play music, most of us are just having it in the background, right? Mindful music listening is actually setting apart time to just sit down and listen to the music. I'm a huge fan of classical music. When I do listen to classical, I try to do it mindfully. There are just so many instruments and they're just all coming together, and I get a kick out of sitting there trying to pick out each little portion. To be able to just sit there and experience that sometimes is just like, oh, my brain feels like, wow, it's doing work, so to speak, but I'm really relaxed while I'm doing it. It's sort of why people go to concerts, right? You go there, the only focus is the music. It's the experience around you or in the moment of it. Can't go to concerts all the time, so give the music and give yourself the space to fully be with it.
When you told me about mindful music listening, I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's what I use. And I play it, and it absolutely makes me feel good. It makes you feel grounded. It
can speak for you at times and even can speak to you at an emotional level. Curious, when you're feeling sad, do you listen to sad music to make you sadder or happy music to make you happier?
Oh, it's like if I'm just sad, I will play my sad music playlist and cry because it's like I needed that push to just emotionally let go. And then I'm like, oh, that felt good.
Yes.
How about you?
Well, this will say a lot about me because I just feel happy music isn't genuine.
Like Pharrell's happy?
Yeah, I'm just like, oh my god, that's just someone really depressed trying to be happy. That's where my brain goes, okay? Depression, you know. We're trying so hard to tell ourselves that things are okay when it doesn't feel that way.
It sounds like you need genuine music.
Yeah. So find your artist, take some time
music
for yourself, and just be there with the music. Maybe it'll give you that little push to feel the emotions you're trying to let out.
Music truly does soothe the soul.
It does. All right. Well, thanks for joining us again this week.
Yes, thank you. Today was
a tough topic.
Tough topic.
Yeah, and I really just want to let people out there who may be struggling with that, hey, like, there are people out there who care about you, and it is a tough struggle. And for those people who are maybe living with someone or know someone who says they have an eating disorder, let's not minimize their experiences. It is a very, very difficult process, and they can use all the help they can get.
Absolutely. If you enjoyed our episode and want to know more and see more, you can follow us on Instagram at Crazy Therapeutic or Facebook at Crazy Therapeutic. And if you want to know more about Kent, you can go to his website, therapeutic.healingpractices.com.
You can visit Connie's site at healinggenerationscounseling.com.
Thank you for joining us.
See you next time.